Hello, welcome back. I'm your host, Alan Underwood. I'm here with John Hardy and Seth Lazan, my co-host, Christian Men Unscripted. Thanks for joining us today. John and Seth are still mad at each other from last week.
Yeah,
We're not mad at
not
you.
even at all. I just pray it brought up
Yeah.
some good conversation.
You guys all changed your clothes. I'm wearing the same thing from last week.
Thank.
All I have is 7 pair of clothes. So
Yeah, that's perfect.
One for each day of the week.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it's just landing right on the same
Same
one
day.
a week later. All right, go ahead. What are we going to talk about?
We need to talk about you keeping your voice to the mic.
he just got so worked up. He just like,
Why am I here with Seth again? What are we going to talk about? I want to talk about youth and what's going on in society now. What I'm seeing, and we were talking about it. Seeing young people, young adults, not kids, but young adults, 18 to maybe 28, maybe 30. As long as it's not in Seth's range, you're a grown man now, a kid.
yeah, I know. I'm 33. I'm 33 now.
Oh, man.
You know,
But-
birthday's a few weeks ago.
Oh,
But
happy birthday.
I brought it up. I'm like, I'm seeing a lot of Christian influencers on social media, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. And then my kids, my son and my daughter went at our church, at Hope Church. There was a young adults night they started last week. And my kids went. In fact, my daughter went and she invited a friend that is, I think she might be Catholic. I don't remember. But anyway, whatever. Neither here nor there. She invited her. She went with her. And they had it in a room where they were expecting like 100 kids, and there was like about 300 there. They had overflow. There was not enough room for everybody. And I was like, and I saw videos of it. I'm like, man, wow, that is amazing.
Mhm.
And like worship music, I'm seeing a lot more worship music being more mainstream. You know, you see. So, what do you guys think? Is it just because that's what we do because we're Christians, we see more of it, or do you see it more in the mainstream? I'm just curious. You guys are both pastors at small churches, so you might not see it as much. But at a big church where I go, I see it a lot. I see a lot of young people coming in. I see a lot of young people being involved.
The question is, are they truly saved? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
Some of them might be serial killers.
let's be honest. Last week we were talking about the relevance a little bit. We ended up in eternal security versus all those things. But do you really trust in Jesus, right? I think I'm so encouraged to hear you say that because you're exactly right. I come from a small church, and it's like we really don't have a few kids that show up here and there because we're a tiny little church. And it seems I always hear the statistics that kids are leaving churches and just not going back at like the highest rate ever, especially in Western comfortable churches. And then you say that, and I'm like, that's amazing because you're seeing a real result. So to me, is that just an amazingly effective ministry? Or is it like guys like Brandon Lake? Like I love his music and stuff. You do see him in mainstream. What are you seeing, Seth? I don't know. I'm encouraged to hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of those same kind of influencers, and a lot of athletes are more open about their faith now, which is cool to see, or at least it's more present on social media. It may not be that it's different. There may be other parts of the world or parts of the country over the past several years where it's been.
I guess I'm thinking more in America, United States.
Yeah, I'm saying like it might have been more prevalent in other parts of the country.
Oh, I get it.
But it's just social media wasn't as. Not everyone had social media, 10 years ago. Like it was mostly kids and, mostly Facebook. And so you didn't see as those.
Generation now
Yeah.
is-
And so we have a lot more access to it, and algorithms put those things more in your face if that's what you're used to. But I think, or that's what you want to look at. And so you see those a little more. I don't necessarily think that it's different in terms of what has happened several different places in colleges and campuses where there's been these meetings going on for 20, 30 years where these great discussions of wonderful young people are happening.
Yeah, but because social media is so prevalent now, I feel like because that it's easier access that it wasn't 20 years ago when what was that movie? There was a movie about the pastor in California who baptized everybody.
Jesus Revolution,
Yeah,
Chuck Smith and the Calvary Chapel. That's one of America's greatest revivals
See,
in
and I feel like
Christianity, in Christendom.
I really feel like right now we're kind of on the verge of that.
I hope
I
you pray
really
for
do.
that. Yes.
Because 2 years ago, my daughter would have never went to a young adults thing at church, and she sees the influence on social media. She sees the influence on people she's surrounded with now.
Yeah.
And she sees it on social media as well. And there's so much evil on social media. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago where, hey, if we're not putting Christian stuff on social media because I don't like it, then all they're going to see is evil. Well, so now we need to bombard it with more Christian stuff. But I feel like athletes, I mean, the first athlete I remember being a Christian was Tim Tebow. And actually AC Green from the Lakers, but that's dating.
Evander Holyfield back in the day, dude.
Yeah, but then he
Philippians
he had like
4:13 and
didn't he have like 10 wives? And
I don't know. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, you know, you see it,
Anyway,
you see it through.
now you see like interviews after the game. I just want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I want to. You see it all the time, and I feel like if we keep pushing it, keep getting these young people involved in churches, because I feel like the United States went so far left to a point where people are like, this is kind of crazy. Like you want to give it an abortion at 8 months, 9 months and just take a baby out and kill it. That's crazy. And
I mean,
they were trying to do that.
I'm telling
And
you.
they were allowing that. You're telling me that at 7 years old, my daughter, okay, here's an example. Cause I've seen it. I've seen athletes who have done it where their kids are like, oh, I'm a girl, and they're boys. And they're okay, we're going to promote you to be a girl.
Yeah.
My son loved pink when he was 6 years old. Pink,
I know.
the color pink.
Right.
Pink. He's like,
Yeah.
everything you want to pink. He has a train track that's a pink piece of train track that he loved. And if I was a parent who was so far woke left and go, oh, you know what, babe, our son loves pink. Maybe we should start putting dresses on.
That's called grooming, and you see it all the time, and it's terrible.
That's what they're doing. And I feel like they went so far left that it's actually helping now. People go, no, this is wrong. There's a Jesus, and we need to follow this. Then we need to follow Jesus. We need to find out more about it.
Yeah.
Go to these churches. Go to these young adult nights and learn and understand. And whether they're there to learn or understand it, or they truly believe it, at least they're there.
So I think it's funny.
I talked a lot. I was like you right there.
I know. Yeah, right.
That was good.
But it was good because I think what I
Your voice sounded like.
what I wanted to ask, especially because Seth is what 10 years, 15 years younger than us or whatever.
Yeah, 5.
So you hear about this. We talked about this when we were going to last episode, but I love that we ended up just talking about heaven and hell and eternal security because it does matter with young people. I have heard, and it was Chip Ingram who shared this several weeks ago when I was listening to him, that nowadays kids, and in the age range you said, the younger adults and stuff too,
I say 18
you
to
can
20.
prove Jesus is God. You can prove there's a creation. You can prove archaeology, history, the old Lee Strobel like case for Christ stuff. Okay, you can prove it intellectually, but is it relevant? And I think that's what you hear is, do kids see this as something relevant, a relevant way to live, like wanting to glorify Jesus? What is your thought on like the relevance of it? How do you approach it?
Yeah, well, I think you could always have good arguments about Christianity, up and for all time. Like there's always been a good argument for it, and there's always been good arguments against. And some people are like, oh, that's bad. The different kind of ways like straw man straw man arguments and those types of things. But I think the thing that we're seeing a lot of now is that instead of focusing on just the intellectual, we realize that it's not just intellectual, it's also spiritual, it's also experiential. And so I think a lot of kids are saying, and I think for a lot of people, their minds would be changed if they saw, man, this actually has an impact on the way they're living, and their lives are changed, and I want to experience that same thing as well. And so I think that's a lot of what's happening is more so like, man, like I can experience God. I would love to experience, his embrace. It may not be, the miraculous, things. I might not speak in tongues, but at least I know that I can experience this,
Like
this
real
wholeness,
peace,
this
real joy,
peace.
wholeness. That's great. Like, why do you think the kids, is this that hope that you mostly see this? Like, what do you think is happening?
Well, I see it.
Seeing all this
I
going
mean,
on.
I see it everywhere. Like even like on Wednesday nights, but we do not young adults, kids, like high school, middle school, and there's so many more kids there, whether their parents are bringing them or not. And trust me, they're not all great kids. I got to deal with them all the time, but they're not horrible kids. They're all pretty good kids, and I'm seeing it, and I'm like, is it an influence? Like if you see a Steph Curry and he goes, I don't think my Lord Jesus Christ, and you as a kid you love Steph Curry or you love LeBron James. I don't know if LeBron James ever does, but I'm just saying. Or I know C.J. Stroud, who was an Ohio State Buckeye OH. They beat Texas. Somebody give me an IO. Seth.
What? No, it's
But you see him when he goes on an interview and he says, hey, all glory to God. I couldn't do this without God, and then my teammates. They put God first in everything they say. And you, as a young person who's 18, 25, who loves sports, who loves this, and you're like, hey, what? He's not a transgender doing a book fair at a library. He's worshiping God and thank God for just being able to come out there and compete as an athlete. I'm seeing that, and I think that's an influence. So those are great. And then not necessarily us. I mean, we are getting a lot more people email us like, hey, thank you. Like the guy yesterday who I sent you, he was asking about.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
last
like,
week that
yeah,
yard.
and
Yeah,
we're,
wonderful. By the way.
we're out there trying to help people, and you're seeing more and more. Not that we're athletes or anything, but I'm just saying you're seeing more influence on social media, more influence in athletes, more influence even at a church, even at like pastors at churches who get up there and they're like, well, I don't want to say, oh, they're cool, but they're strong. They're strong leaders. They're strong. You guys are strong leaders in your church. When as a young person and you see a strong Christian leader, man or woman, you're going to be influenced by that and go, what does he got? That's pretty interesting.
I think that
Right.
says that it's relevant. Like my faith, that's
Mm-hmm.
right. I think maybe that's the shift in thinking that needs to happen for these kids is they need to see people who claim to be a believer in Jesus. Your everyday moms and soccer moms and your everyday dads just working their butts off out there. If you really believe in Jesus, are you making it relevant in your life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's how you influence this next generation. They see real believers like these guys thanking God, but they actually really
Live it
know
out.
that it's relevant and matters.
And you live it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I think that that speaks to the reality that we have to have integrity in the way that we are living, and the way you can go to church. Like I experienced this several years ago as a youth pastor, as a lot of my kids were like, if I had to choose, I'd choose Christianity, but I just don't want to choose that because, my parents yell at each other all the time, all these things. And so there's not an integration of or integer, like the wholeness aspect of it. There's not a wholeness in terms of what you're saying and what you're doing. It's very much a fragmented existence. And I think for a lot of people, and I think for youth, they would experience this too, is that because of the fragmentation of society, they have to have something that is whole. And I think it's easy if we say like, hey, this is what I want. This is how I want to live. If we're, humble about it, repentant about it. Hey, I messed up. Can you, I shouldn't have yelled at you. Those types of things. That's like, people are like, oh, you know what? That person has something that this world culture doesn't have. There's, our presidents are not good at saying, I messed up, or, oh, I didn't do this. Our leaders, no one does that. And so, for us to have that integrity in our lives to say, yeah, I'm not perfect, but I'm on this journey to live a more integrated life, and I want to have that integrity. I think that's really a good thing that is coming out of the uncertainty that's been in our culture over the past several years, is that some people are like, I have to really have something to hold on to that will anchor me. And a lot of kids are finding that the most explanatory, the thing that has most explanatory power is Christianity.
Mm-hmm. And I guess what I'm trying to say is they see the athletes, they see the influencers, and they want to check it out. That doesn't mean that they believe, but then when they get to a church and they get to a young adults thing and they hear the word and they start getting into it and understanding it and learning it, then they become the next one. Does that make sense? They're the next one. Like, we'll say there's somebody at our church who's going to be a Major League Baseball player. Well, I learned that by just going to a young adults night at my church. And now I'm influencing people. You don't have to be a pastor. We're all called to, spread the gospel.
Yeah.
Whether how we do it or not is, we do it through our podcast. They do it through sports. Our pastors do it through churches. We can do it just by going to a store and talking to somebody. I did it at the gym last week, talking to somebody. I told you guys. I'm like, oh, that was weird.
Yeah. You're used. It's a divine appointment.
Yeah, right.
Kind of goes back to some of the stuff Seth was just talking about last week, that it's yes, being a Christian, a little Christ one, right? That used to be a derogatory term. It just means you believe in Jesus and you want to follow Jesus. It actually means, if you really are a real Christian, that you're a disciple, which means you're a student. You're learning. How do you live it up?
Yeah.
And so you're right. These kids come. The prayer is they're influenced by an influencer, and they're like, what is this Jesus all about? My grandma goes to church. What's that? You've shared that story. You went to church with your grandma. But then you go and you hear the word, the power of the Holy Spirit convicting them, and then they actually want to learn and grow. They might, they literally believe in Jesus, right? They believe by faith that, this makes sense. That mustard seed size faith. Yeah. But now do they grow? Mm-hmm. Is there true discipleship so that their faith is actually rooted? So when they start to have issues, are they going to really realize how very relevant that is in life? So we have to start by, we live that out, right? The adults around all the kids all the time.
Yeah, that's the key, right? The adults. I mean, I guess we're kind of the key to that. The young adults, as they see how we live, right? Yeah. I mean, if we're going to church and we're saying we're Christian, but I'm out getting drunk on the weekends and cheating on my wife and doing whatever, then
Serial killing,
like you
like
said,
last
when
week.
you're like, oh, my parents yell at each other all the time. Then it's different. Serial killing on the weekends. After you're done watching your pornography.
All that stuff we
all
just
that
talked
crazy
about.
stuff. So I think as men, I kind of want to get to that too. As men, we have to start stepping up as well. Because I'm talking about youth, but I think the men have to step up. The men in the world need to step up. The men need to stop going out getting drunk. The men need to stop looking at pornography, serial killing, if that's what they're doing. Whatever it is, we need to be leaders as well in our families, in our communities, and wherever we're at.
Those are big things, but Seth brought up the little things too. It's the little things, actually. The cumulative, the culmination of small things. Apologizing when I need to apologize.
Right.
I don't need to be the toughest guy in the room. A couple weeks back, we had Jimmy Graham on. Dude, that guy is lights out amazing, right? I want to be his best friend. He was the coolest dude I've talked to. But he's a believer in Jesus, and close.
Okay.
But the point is, he's like, remember how he said it? Dude, I love his quote. He said, when he was a young guy, and SEAL operator and all this stuff, he was willing to die for his country. But in his 50s now, he says, I want to live for my country. And that's a broad statement. But what it's saying is, I need to live with a relevant faith and actually live it out. Goes back to our conversation last week. Is my faith real? And if it is, then let me really live this out. Let me be repentant when I need to be repentant, confessional when I need to be confessional. Make sure that people see, like, I really want to help. And I don't need to be tough about it. I don't need to be a jerk about it. I don't need to react. I need to respond in love and compassion as best as I possibly can, while maintaining that I'm a man and I'm masculine. I can protect people and all these things, but I want to live it out. I want to make sure it's relevant.
And I think, to your point, like Jesus says, like, if you cause someone to stumble, like a little one to stumble, someone who's a little person in faith, like a young adult who doesn't know anything, like, and they see you, my leader, getting drunk and and your language being very different, like Jesus says, it'd be worse, it'd be better for you to have a millstone tied around your neck and thrown into the lake than for what will happen. And so I think that's an important reality check for us, is like, we want to be people who, when a kid I know sees me at my house and sees me at the bar, I'm the same person. And I'm integrated in who I am as a Christ follower, and I'm loving people at the bar as much as I'm loving people at my house.
And that goes. My daughter, who is 18 now, she's been up and down in faith and life, troubles and whatnot. But she said something to me a couple weeks ago. She goes to small group on Mondays with her leader, who is my daughter wants to join the Air Force. She's trying to join the Air Force. She needs to
It'd be great.
Work out a little bit more. Maddie, if you're listening.
They don't have very high expectations anymore.
They do. We went to the recruiters. I'm like, you're not gonna make it. You better get on this stuff right now.
Really? Because my friend was telling me, like, they used to have to do a bunch more in the Army.
It's changed since January.
Yeah.
But she went to her small group. She came home and she was talking about her leader, and she goes, I'm impressed with her. I really like her. And there it is, right? That's that young adult influenced the next generation.
Yeah.
She's like, well, she's got something that I kind of want,
Right.
So,
and that's the truth about, like, you and me. Like, my kids will at one point, like, they love me right now, but in a little bit they'll be like, my dad, he just always says that. But then some young other dad or other person says the same thing. It's like, Dad, did you hear what this person said? I was like,
gosh. Story of my life with my son.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think that's why, like, as men, where I help at church, is they get that other. I'm probably saying the same thing their parents are, but they just hear it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And probably a much cooler looking guy.
Yeah, and that's what you want.
Stuff.
Is you want people to be in community with other people who are living out their faith.
Right.
Because if I'm not in community with someone who's living out their faith, then I'm just going to keep living my sinfulness and just be like, okay, I don't know any better because I'm not seeing it modeled in any other way.
I love stealing Chip Ingram's quotes or Tony Evans' quotes, but Chip Ingram says it all the time, and I'm sure he stole it from somewhere else, right? More is caught than taught.
Yeah.
It's so true, man. You can say it. I can preach till I'm blue in the face, but I better be living it out, because our kids see us and they more emulate us. More's caught than taught. I love the thought on that.
And that's our youth pastor. He said it before. He goes, I can get up here and preach a sermon every Wednesday. He goes, but they're not going to remember that. They're going to remember their time in small group, their time at camp with you, the leaders, who you might not be talking Jesus, but you're playing sports with them. You're playing catch with them. You're talking life with them. Yeah. And it's a biblical life, So they're going to understand that. Your character is showing. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that same thing, right?
Yeah, and you're making eye contact with them, and you're trying to invest, right? That's which can get hard, dude, because we all get so busy. It's hard to invest in our own kids. Believe me, I have massive guilt on the drive over here.
You were guilty on the way over here?
Yes, because I was in a hurry because we're involved in
You should,
ministry
man.
stuff. By the way, Seth, I don't know if you know this, but Alan has been in so much ministry lately too. So we were on the phone. You're going for your master's, dude. You're educating yourself that you might be used even more in the kingdom, that you might even better understand as you're a preacher and a teacher. I understand that, and you're a father to young kids. Alan has been. Literally every time I talk to him, he's going out of town with another youth group. He's been helping me at my church, by the way, because I need help, right? And because I'm doing chapel at a certain place every once in a while, ministry, preaching, teaching. Right? We all have stuff every day. And so this morning, I have to get here. This is across town. We've got to do the podcast. We get some great feedback, even if it's just the one that this helps. So that's why we keep doing it. But I'm in a hurry. My wife comes in the room. And she's like, I wanted to show you this video. And it's interesting. And it was, by the way, it was a Christian video, like some kind of a Christian thing, whatever. I was in such a hurry, though, that I was like, babe, I just boom, boom, boom. I'm so sorry. And then so she was like, okay, I'll show you, whatever. She had to walk out there. She wasn't mad, by the way. I didn't even think about it. I showered. I got ready. I jumped in the car. I'm driving. I'm running late. I'm trying to get here to do more ministry. Okay. I'm putting on, by the way, I'm real spiritual, guys. I put on my Christian podcast. I want to listen to Chip Ingram. Right? I listen to him all the time. And then it dawned on me about halfway. I was like, oh my God, I forgot to go back to my wife. She wanted to show me a video. She wanted to share some time with me, something that she thought was important. So I called her right before I got here. I was like, babe, I am so sorry. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, you came in, you had a video queued up. You wanted to show it to me. It was important to you. I felt terrible, dude. You know what I mean? But more is caught than taught. By the way, she it's just her and I, so there's no one to see this. But the point is, I think it's the small things sometimes that really matter. And she was like, babe, I'm not mad. I'll show it to you later, whatever. Like, don't worry about me. I was like, yeah, but that's terrible. You wanted my attention, and I didn't give it to you because I'm doing God things.
Right.
I got God things to do. I can't pay attention.
I mean, and I think that shows some integrity as well. It's like, hey, I'm apologizing for something that I need to apologize for in that situation. And I think that's a good example, is that if we can, as listeners of the podcast, as men, and is demonstrate how to be integrated within our faith when we mess up and when we're doing awesome, that kids are seeing the character, but they're also seeing that, hey, I'm sorry for making you feel this way, or then that, I think that really will cause people and kids to, instead of just coming on a Wednesday to this young adult thing, when they see more people living it out, it becomes, I want to become like that too.
Right. No, I think that's it.
Dude, I had a thought on that, and I totally slipped, man.
You're at a loss for words.
Yes, I'm at a loss for words right now because I had a thought on that because it's
Flustered of so much.
No, you did. No, but the thought was this, is that I can apologize, but then because we always talk about this, that nothing is beyond redemption, whatever it is in Christ, right? As long as we can turn back to him and nothing, but I can apologize. But the reality is will I do better next time? That's actually was my point. I need to do better. While you were saying that, do better next time came into my own mind against myself, trying to give myself grace, but we can always do better next time. I think it was you who had shared that before. Yeah. Any thoughts on that with talking to these kids and how your kids are moving forward, your daughter, like how do you encourage them to do better next time, every time?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I share with them how wicked I was back in the day. I mean, I was just like them. I mean, I went away for the weekend with these kids, and I'm not going to say what they did, but they got in trouble, some serious trouble.
Funny, Seth, you haven't heard the story. You're going to hear
serious trouble, which is, and I was talking to one of the moms. She goes to the gym, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't even want to see you here. I was embarrassed." I'm like, "You don't got to be embarrassed." I mean, I was 15 and I did almost the same stuff. Yeah. I was like, I mean, these are kids, they're teenagers. They are going to be, they're going to do what they're going to do. And I mean, they didn't do it. They're alive. So
they could have been killed, by the way. I can't wait to tell you the story. We won't say it on the air.
No, we're not.
But I did worse. I told my wife, she was mad. She was like, I can't believe that. I was like, babe, I did way worse. I'm not going to judge them.
I got letters from, they sent letters apologizing. And I hope you're not, I mean, was I disappointed in a moment? Yeah, but I'm over it. I'm like, I did the same thing. I mean, I think that's where I have, because I lived it. I grew up in Vegas with a single mom. Yeah. She did her best, but I was out getting in trouble and I did stupid
well, we don't want to glorify that. We don't want to glorify that.
We don't.
But do better.
But I didn't have that in my life, though. Yeah. I didn't have a church camp. I didn't have a mentor. I had my mom. I had my dad. He passed away. But, it's along the lines of like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Of course, this was at a church camp that these kids got in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
But I'm not upset. I'm not like the mom was like, I was embarrassed. I'm like, don't be embarrassed. I did the same thing. And, we'll work on it. We'll work with them. We'll get them better. And they apologize. And I know they feel bad about it. And there's repercussions to everything. But, I think that's where it comes into play, being there for them and letting them know that, hey, we are going to mess up. They didn't go out and kill nobody. Right. So they're good.
We better wrap up on that. Any final thoughts, Seth,
Yeah.
on that stuff?
No, just that's wrong.
All right, we're gonna finish.
Hey, be blessed, man. Do better next time. Do better next
Do
time.
better next time. Like that.